Time spent with you, like a symphony of the heavens, every flow, subtle movements, are felt in certainty that this is real, and I can be here to drink every drop of nectar fed by you. I have never been so full in such a way that I am honored and grateful to have tasted your sweetness. Thank you, Goddess, for your tenderness I get to bask in. This little passage came through to me. Like, it was channeled a while ago, maybe a few months ago. And it really touched upon the way I was feeling in the moment, in a sense that what I couldn't feel in my day to day, I was feeling it through my meditation. And so it was, I know that this was written when I was in a bit of a struggle with myself, a battle, an internal battle. And what I got from that was a knowing that, I can feel love, that I can feel emotions, that this is where I am and I can be where I am and feel safe and be held and be nurtured. It was written from a place of contrast, of polarity. So this was written in a sense of that I couldn't believe that there is a possibility of feeling whole, feeling like a harmonious flow in my daily life. And I'm aware that it's not just myself that experiences this, that there are many that do or that may feel as though there isn't much to life available, or that how do you create a pleasant experience in your daily life, not just little bits and pieces of moments that you get to have, but because it's like if you have little bits and pieces of pleasures, of joys, then that's all it is, right? And so we tend to sometimes even hoard those possible emotions and what you have felt. And so from hoarding it, it just doesn't allow for those emotions, even if it's positive or negative. It just doesn't allow for those experiences to grow and to expand itself. And so what can you create in your day to day that gives you the opportunity to have an expansive and a rejuvenative life? And it's like being reborn on a daily, being reborn yearly, and seeing how in one moment you may touch upon a new experience. The next day it could be that you're touching upon a previous experience you had, and you know what? It actually doesn't have to look the way it does. It doesn't have to feel the way it does. And you're beginning to notice and realize that, you know what? It actually isn't the way I thought it was. What if it was actually something more pleasant, or it doesn't have to, like, so it's like a sense of it doesn't have to weigh so heavy. It doesn't have to be so heavy. And so how do you allow yourself to, sorry. Okay, so how do you allow yourself to step into this flow of experiencing pleasures? And for me, the way I experience things, it's very textural to me. And so that's how I know if something is uncomfortable or if something just feels really pleasant and I can consume it. When something is a bit more of a textural thing, it becomes really challenging for me. And it activates my taste buds and it gives me nausea if it's uncomfortable. So that's just the way I flow and how I understand what works for me and what doesn't. Um, yeah, I'm just looking down over here at my book where I wrote down the little message. So I'm just trying to see what. So it's like, okay, so another little component is the first time you experience something pleasurable, it can be a bit uncomfortable. And the reason for that discomfort is because it is new. It is beyond the parameters, the boundaries that you currently have been living in. And so when something new comes in, a new experience, new form of pleasure, pain, whichever contrast, there is a level of discomfort because you've never met it before. And so the first time when you experience the pleasure of that um of that, I think it's aptitude. Let me check. Yeah. So a pleasure that is of that aptitude, it's new. And so when our body is so intelligent that it will only allow you to experience a certain level of pain or pleasure that you have the capacity to experience, because it can really fry your nervous system. Doesn't matter which one it is, it can fry your nervous system. And so you're gradually building the capacity to feel pleasures and pains as well. And so the more you begin learning how to navigate through your pains, your traumas, and also your pleasures, they both go hand in hand. It's not just one versus no, they both go hand in hand. You will naturally be taken through these contrasting fields so you can neutralize them and become a bit indifferent in a sense that it becomes normalized in your physical human body, in your nervous system. And so from that, there is a learning that happens, right? And so this is how you begin to really try out things that are new, things that you haven't tried out before. It opens up these doors to really begin to implement the qualities and experiences that you want to have. So what I mean by qualities is, let's say you want to pick up a daily routine or like a weekly routine of going to the gym. Now you have the capacity to do it. But there is that little resistance at first, and you do what you have the capacity to do just to get the feel for it. You might dip your toes in, come back out, dip it again, stay a little bit longer. And so you gradually build this capacity. And so even to experience pleasures in your body, to understand what is of highest to you, it is a gradual navigation of that. Sorry about that. And so your body is intelligent enough to take you through whatever journey that you intend to go on based off of your desire, based off of your intention. Your body has the intelligence to take you through that journey in a way that you have the capacity to navigate through it without without blowing a fuse in your system. Um, where is this going? And so even to go through an experience of feeling pleasure or building a business or even going on your first date with someone new, even these little moments, it's a feeling of being welcomed back into your physical body. When there is discomfort, there's a level of displacement, a fragmentation within you. And you're not able to settle in. And so when you're able to feel something, you're telling yourself that, okay, I am going to be inside my body, feeling whatever is happening through this physical form. There will not be any sort of life held inside of your vessel, inside of your skin, without there being an agreement to go through this journey, go through these emotions, go through these pains, these lessons. And so acknowledge the fact that you're even, like, as a soul, you agreed to be in this physical body, being presented in the way that you are. And there is a great pleasure in that, in a sense that as a human being, we are gifted this gift of experiencing contrast. And not every being in the galaxy can have this. Sorry, there's other starseeds and aliens. There's other beings, other creatures from other planets and other galaxies that don't have the experience that we do as human beings living on Earth. And the same goes for angels. And like angels don't have the capacity to physically, like they're just constantly, in a sense, in a place of love. They don't know what it is to have contrast in a way. They understand the concepts, they're aware of it, at the same time they've never felt it. And for us to, as human beings, we have the capacity to navigate through these contrasts. And this is how we understand what love is, what light is. And so it's not that it's just always light that we go for, there has to be a shadow for us to even experience the light. And it's like the concept of the yin and yang, where on the darker shadow part there is like a little dot of light. And it's even in the shadow you are aware that there is light. And vice versa, where in the white and the light aspect there is a dot of shadow. And in that light you are aware of the shadows. And you will, throughout your life, whether you were born, depending on which body type that you're born with, you may experience transformations and darks and light and shadows within a day, within a 24-hour day, or you can experience it within a month. Whatever your journey is, it's a level of understanding that, okay, you can be in this physical body and you can even have these desires to have a certain experience, something that you never have felt, and yet it's something that piques your interest a little bit, right? So you dive into it and you go for it and you have that experience. And it might be a short-lived experience where eventually you're like, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm good. No, thank you. And then other times it may be that you're wondering, why did I even step into it? You know, why did I think about it? Why did I choose it? There's a few layers to that. Sometimes it is that your soul wanted to complete a certain experience that it has had beforehand, before this physical body, and so it's trying to complete it through you, in this current moment, in this current reality, in this current timeline. And or it could be something, a lesson to be learned from your ancestors, something that they may have had or experienced that they just didn't have the capacity to complete it, but you do. So it could be that as well. There's other layers as well, but that's up to you to discern what to do with it and if you want to complete it. At the same time, you don't have to actively sit in it. You can just always allow yourself to verbalize, to vocalize, for it to transmute through you, and give yourself a certain timeline, so like a couple of days, and for it to just be navigated through. So you're allowing your subconscious to cleanse and work through it in the best way, in your highest form. Or you can actively have your hands in it, in the experience. Something else that I wanted to touch on is the concept of subtlety. The concept of subtlety, yeah, the reason why I wanted to touch on that is because something that could be subtle for you right now, subtle is it's very faint, it's not very, it's not very, it's not vivid, it's not perceivable, but yet it's like a little faint feeling that you may have. Something that is subtle for you right now, the moment you experience a subtlety, give it a few days, a few months even. That experience of subtlety is no longer subtle. It's more vivid. And why is that? Is because you have become aware of something that you have never felt before. A certain layer of reality that was in your subconscious is now conscious. And so, yeah, so something that was in the shadow is now come to light, and you begin to play with it. And so the boundaries that you have towards something that is subtle is no longer that boundary, and you begin to realize that your boundaries have expanded. And so you can shift into trying something new. And you realize that also you're not the same person having the same experience, because if you were, that thing that was subtle would still be subtle, but it's not. So because of that, you've become a new person. You've become another version, another aspect of yourself. And these things that you are bringing to your awareness, it adds to your soul. Your soul itself has experiences, has had experiences, and it is currently having this experience as well. And so it already knows these things exist, the subtleties, it understands and knows these subtleties. At the same time, because of the physical body that you have, and the soul accepted to inhabit this physical body, it may have forgotten, well, it has forgotten to, it has forgotten the layers that it already knows. So it can experience it in a way and truly embody that lesson or that experience of light and love. Something that's like really coming to my mind right now is there's this one little passage in the Bhagavad Gita, and it touches on, I don't remember the exact words, but it was around the concept of happiness, of pleasure. And it was referring to how pleasures, the one that is happy does not seek pleasure. And that's because it's already experiencing that pleasure, that happiness. And from experiencing that happiness, there is this level of joy in the being that it is, in the being that it knows it is, and just that presence, that level of presence and love is all that is needed for other beings around you to calibrate to you and to experience love. And so even when you experience love, it is different from people around you. But it doesn't mean that they don't experience love. It's both of these contrasts. An experience of love is valid and it's necessary. And it's something that the source experiences. The combination of all these perspectives adds value for source, and there's a pleasure that we have in serving source, in acting out and playing out these roles. There is a level of love that we get to contribute into an experience that potentially someone else can have, someone else can tap into. Now that is a lot of fun. What else is there? I don't know, there's something else available. You know, something else that is coming to my awareness is we take so much pleasure in being around people. Some do anyways. At the same time, how many of you have taken pleasure in just being with yourself and just enjoying life, you know? Enjoying the beauty that life has to offer for you. Enjoying the way your skin feels and the way you move and the way you talk and the way you feel things and the ideas that you have. The contrasting of people that surround you. There is a level of music, of symphony that is created from just your being. And there is Even in the aspects of you that does not resonate, it's necessary for the symphony of life, the whole aspect of life, and the music and the sound, the vibration that she emits, that we emit, is vital. And we get to individually tap into the music that we want to hear and the music that we want to put out. And this symphony is given to us as well as it is received. So whatever you do, there is a level of other people, other beings, other creatures, source that experiences you. There is a co-collaborative experience available for both energies. Whatever you're putting out, it's not going out into thin air. There's quite a bit of life to it. So allow yourself to really dive into it and to sing, to go through the journey that you're on, to relearn the lessons that you may have been relearning over and over again. Eventually, you'll hear the music. You'll hear what you are putting out, and you yourself will make that change, that shift, and you will hear the beauty in the way that your symphony just doesn't vibrate harmoniously, and you'll find pleasure and a little sweetness in that. And you'll find also great pleasure in how harmonious that you actually are. Eventually, that whole concept just becomes indifferent, and you know that wherever you are, however you show up, all of it is perfect. All of it is exactly what it's meant to be. And it doesn't take away from the fact that you will still put in the effort and the work and the energy into what life is and what it has to offer. Continue moving through everything that you are, and you'll constantly be finding more and more of what's subtle, and you'll get to taste new things. Sorry. You'll get to taste new things, and that I'm really happy and excited for whoever it is that's hearing this, or whoever it is that it's meant for. You're gonna greatly enjoy the subtleties of your being, of your expression, of your presence. Oh my gosh. When you begin to feel you and get a glimpse of what others are feeling and perceiving you and the way they're experiencing you, when you get to experience your own self, kind of from a third perspective, it's magical. It really is magical. And with that, I'm gonna leave it here. I wish you guys so much love, so much kindness, and may you experience the bliss that exists within you.